So here we are in the wake of destruction of yesterday's hurricane of a project. Worked 7 hours straight, forgot to take lunch. I know this looks hokey on the front here with these boards, but I need to figure something else out. So here it is. The built-in one-day solar panel array. I have a 4x4 post, spaced 12 feet apart, ish. On the back side, I have 3. These are 2x3s. This is one 12-foot 2x4. I honestly wasn't sure how to tie any of this stuff in, so this is what I did. Just a couple of screws per 2x3 in there. On this 2x4, I used 3 on the front. I basically established a triangle on the end. Triangle on the end here, between these 2 posts. I had to make sure that this crossbeam, which would be the bottom of it, started off the ground. Hey, good morning. Mommy must be up, huh?
You changed the oil?
Yes ma'am, the oil is changed and ready to go. You can start it right up if you need to. Alright. So I make the triangle on the end, and then did the same to the other side. Then what I did is I took this 2x4x12 and butted it up underneath here with it at a very specific level, with checking a post level. Then I went in, and now this was just done today without like any calculations or anything, so there's some slop in it that I'm trying to overlook. So when you see it, you can say something, but I know, trust me. For instance, this right here is a gap, which will be fixed later, but other things, if you want to, you can make something similar, I'm sure way nicer, but it's going to be doing its job. So what I did is I took 2x3s to support the panel on top of this 2x4 going across, and on top of that 2x4 going across the other side. So I put the 2x3 like this, okay? Then I took a measurement on supposedly where the panels were on half, like this, and put the beam in between them. You can see there's some issue because it was either warped or something else crazy. But alright, so the frame itself is basically a post coming out back here, a post coming out in the front, spaced enough so that a 2x3x8 could lay at about a 45 degree angle, alright? Which we just manually held, with a tape measure. Then I did the same to the other side. So post coming out there, post coming out there, triangle between them. I then just connected them with a 2x4x12, another 2x4x12 across the top, which I then decided to use to put basically almost like floor joists like that to hold the panels. Now, these are 2 feet by 3 feet-ish panels. So it need to be at least 6 feet plus a little bit for the hold downs, which I've yet to install. So if a super high wind came up, these might get lifted off. So I still need to do that for sure soon. I've been messing around with some brass etching and stuff, and so I had actually some brass lying around, like an old kick plate, and I just got out the saw and cut some strips. Then I used roofing screws to attach it here, and then I bent it up a little and attached it to the 2x3, which is being used as a support. So then It just goes up to the top, is installed with a screw here and a screw from the bottom going through this 2x4. So they both tie into this 2x4. After I did 2 of these, I set one panel down, set a 2x3 in between it, basically, the next row, to act as a point where I can drill through here, and I'm going to have 5/16 by 5 inch long bolts with large washers. So I'm going to drill pretty close to the edge here, and then have a fat washer sticking out that's going to hold this lip in place so it won't lift up. I did the same along the top, and it's going to be slightly to this edge, have a washer there to prevent it from lifting. So we have the 2x3s laid flat, going across here, supporting underneath the edges. You can see that the spacing is off, and we had some craziness just because we slammed it together. And so instead of basically uninstalling all these other ones and shifting around, we just put another 2x3 underneath there. In the future, I'd probably use 2x4s going all the way here, so you have a nice fat edge, and any slop that it has like this won't be too big of a deal. But you know, we messed it up a little and had it going like this at an angle or something, and so it wasn't fully supported on this edge, and so we just added another one, you know, and it still works, it supports it, whatever. That's the non-perfectionistic in me talking, because it does bug me for sure, but I'm just trying to roll with it because it will work. Now, if it survives the highest winds we have ever is to be seen, but we'll see, right? This is what it looks underneath. It has all just the cables and everything right there on the module. This is like the 7th time I've hit my knee on this thing. I need to trim that off. So underneath here they just have the module, whatever, transformer or something, and a negative and positive cable coming out. We are going to go with a 24 volt system because we do have a wind turbine which is already 24 volts, and might as well just set up the whole system to accept 24 without any other hassle, you know. And since we have control over the voltage output of the solar panel array that we design, we're choosing to go with 24. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook up a negative to a positive here or wherever, and then we're going to leave like all positives hanging down on this side and all the negatives hanging down on that side, and then connect all of those cables together and all of these cables together, and then we'll have like one positive coming off and one negative coming off, and then we're going to bury that, go around the propane tanks, go to the right, go up into the powerhouse, and then we'll go into the battery bank after, of course, our charge controller. So our power from the solar that's generated is going to go into our charge controller, which then is hooked to our battery bank and determines how much power it lets past it into the battery bank. So, yep, that's it. That was the project of yesterday. It took 7 straight hours of finicking. I know maybe it seems like a really long time for that, but there are a lot of problems we had because I just had a whim bottle of lumber. I was like, I need to make one, so I just bought a ton of lumber, and I can't believe it, but I only had one piece left over, so I barely bought enough. And the only issue I'm having is on the front there with those weird boards. I don't have any way to like hold the solar panel where it should be this direction yet, so I just like put a board there, slapped it up, and it's stopping it from sliding off the rack. I couldn't find any like L channel or anything that's really tall. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is just go back and get like a 2x8 or something and slap it up on the other side of this 2x4 that goes all the way across, and then, yeah, that's basically it. Just, it'll be taller here like these boards are, and then it will form a lip that the solar panels will stop at, and it will also allow me to drill through it and use fasteners to actually provide like a clamp down point to prevent it from lifting this direction if wind goes up underneath here. It rarely does, but it's possible. Some of like the weaknesses or the issues I have with this are minor, you know, but as they stack they can cause problems. I'm confident that it's built strong enough that it should withstand the wind and the weather, but you know, only time can tell, really. I dug these holes that the posts go in with an old school post digger, with, you know, that one right there. And then I took concrete has the pre-mix, basically. It has the rocks already in it with the Portland cement and the mix, and I just dropped it in there dry. And it's really cold and it's freezing right now, so I think if I would have added water and made it soupy, that it would have cracked and been a complete failure and not compacted at that point. Just imagine like hard, irregular shaped marbles rolling around instead of like a solid mass. So I just dumped it in there dry, and I tamped it down with a big steel layout rod, which I think is right here actually, with this giant steel layout rod to compact it around the post. So like these were really solid before we did anything. So I'm confident in these posts at least. Other than that, you know, the minor things I'm talking about is like, we didn't run perfect lines along the faces of the 4x4s over the 12 feet, so it ends up that this 4x4 is slightly twisted counterclockwise by like, you know what, like 5 degrees or something, you know, and so this kind of stuff annoys me, like gaps like this, like that would have been easy, you know, and you can see, but this one's perfectly flat. It's because this one is oriented at also a different angle, so it ends up stacking when you got like 5 posts, right? And it especially looks worse over a longer distance, but that's all right. And this right here, you know, there's a gap right here. And why is there a gap right here? Well, it's because, you guessed it, this post is twisted, and so it's touching here, but not really other places. So if this were like any weight being taken on this, I would have taken this out and recut it and put a block under here or something. But all it's doing is, in actuality, it's spreading this 2x4x12 in the front, because it's so long and was so old, it was cupping like this. And so, sorry, like this towards us. And so what I had to do in order to get these boards at kind of like the same length overhang, you know, I had to spread that bar out. And it also adds rigidity, because 12 feet is kind of a lot of span, even for a 2x4. And so this helps suck up any form of twist that might happen, because it'll just be pushed over here to this and, you know, be divided like it's supposed to. Those are the only major glaring errors that I can think of, outside of the fact that we chose lumber that is not straight. In actuality, it ends up doing this or doing this. Twist, it's not a twist, it's like a shifting left or right, you know? So we get issues where the panel isn't as fully supported as I would, you know, hope it to be, really. Like this one here, it's really hard to tell with the camera, but it chicanes down here. It has a jog in it. And so this spot right here, you can see more of the frame than down there. It's because this one is pushed over a little more this way, but still, it was an issue. And in the future, if I build another array, which I plan to, I will be switching these out to 2x4s. So instead of being this wide and then you have a gap that you can see, it'll just be this wide. And then guess what? You won't be able to tell. And it'll be perfect to support it all. So for sure, if you go to build one of these, use 2x4s or something to support that if you go with this kind of design. Super easy to slap together. Worked great for me so far. It's going to be nice and easy to work on it because it's up off the ground. I can just hop over this board here, and then I'm up underneath it. I can access any wiring, disconnect the panel that dies, replace it, you know. I assume 2x3 is a common-ish size. It looks normal-ish to me. But yep, there it is. Just using the materials that I had just bought on a whim. You can pretty much build anything out of 8-foot 2x4s and 4x4s and 2x3s. So if you're ever just wanting some stuff for a project, go grab those and you'll pretty much be set. That's the video for this morning. Happy Monday, everyone. Sorry for not videoing this, me making it, but I'll try to, in the future, actually keep my phone on me. Not let Bianca steal it, go to town. Excited about this. This is 1,000 watts right here that will be dumping into our battery bank. Soon, we will get away from the gas generator running all the time and use it for emergencies. That's the plan.